Good evening, dear listeners. You've found your way back to the Midnight Quill, your faithful companion when the streets of Diagon Alley grow quiet, when the candles in the ministry corridors burn low, and when the owls have tucked their beaks under their wings for a well-earned rest. Outside my little broadcasting room tonight, the wind is tracing lazy curls along the eaves. There's a pot of chamomile and chocolate brewing in the corner. And before me, freshly delivered by a rather self-important tawny owl, is the latest Daily Prophet. It's tied up with a violet ribbon tonight, always a sign that the newsroom has something particularly gossipy tucked between the more respectable headlines. I can't promise I won't skip straight to the good bits. Wherever you are, whether in a Gryffindor dormitory with your curtains drawn, a tucked-away wizarding inn on the edge of the Highlands, or, Merlin forbid, a night shift in the misuse of Muggle Artifacts office, you're in good company here. Magical headlines. We begin tonight in Hogsmeade, where local residents awoke to find the entire high street blanketed, not in snow, but in several tons of enchanted goose feathers. According to eyewitnesses, the feathers fell continuously for over an hour, each one humming softly until it touched the ground. Madame Rosmerta of the Three Broomsticks said it was the most peaceful morning she'd had in years, though she added that sweeping the stuff out of her doorway took until mid-afternoon. The Department of Magical Accidents and Catastrophes suspects a misfired charm from Zonko's joke shop. But as one ministry official told the Prophet, frankly, no one's owning up, and we'd rather enjoy the quiet while it lasts. Oh, meanwhile, in Diagon Alley, Flourish and Blots has announced a midnight book signing next Thursday for Magizoologist Newt Scamander's latest expanded edition of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. The new chapters reportedly include rare observations of a crumple-horned snorkack, though skeptics are already lining up to point out that the creature's existence remains unproven. One particularly determined wizard in the queue has been camping outside the shop for 3 days and claims he'll only leave once Newt signs his pet Kneasel. Flourish and Blot's management has not confirmed whether Kneasels are allowed inside the shop. Moving on, we continue with another page saying that over at the Ministry of Magic, the Department of Magical Transportation has announced a temporary suspension of Flu network connections to Nocturne Alley. A spokesperson explained that several fireplaces in the area had been linking, quite by accident, to the Gryffindor Common Room at Hogwarts. While no harm was done, one second-year claims to have woken to find a hooded figure attempting to toast crumpets over the common room fire. Wow, that's something to wake up to. This break is sponsored by Broomsmith's Comfort Cushions, the enchanted seat pad that turns any broom ride into a cloud-soft journey. Quidditch players, night flyers, and delivery owls all approve, though we haven't quite figured out how to get the owls to stop stealing them. And speaking of Hogwarts, The school's caretaker reports that an unusual number of staircases have been wandering again this week, causing several students to arrive in the owlery when they were meant to be in charms. Professor Flitwick has issued a reminder that magical staircases have minds of their own and suggests students keep a pocket compass or a very patient prefect on hand when hurrying between classes. Well, when I was a student at Hogwarts, I did ended up in places I wasn't supposed to. And let's just say that it was indeed the staircase, the one to blame. Our final headline for this portion comes from Ottery Saint, Catchpole, where the Weasley family's garden gnomes have apparently unionized. In a statement scratched onto the back of an old tea tin, the gnomes demand more respect, less flinging, and weekly access to the vegetable patch without interference. Arthur Weasley, when asked for comment, said only, "I suppose they've got a point about the flinging." And that, dear friends, is the state of the wizarding world, according to today's prophet. At least the bits fit for public ears. Oh, there's more tucked between the lines, of course. A little gossip here, a curious rumor there. But I wouldn't want to give it all away before we've brewed the evening properly. Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Madame Twill's self-warming tea set. Never let your brew go cold again. With an enchantment lasting up to 3 years, your tea stays at the perfect temperature from first sip to last. Madame Twill reminds you, life's too short for lukewarm tea. Weather across the wizarding world. Now, before you tuck in too deeply under those blankets, let's have a look at what the skies, and in some places, the ground, have in store for us tonight and tomorrow. I should warn you, the Daily Prophet's weather scroll this evening is a little more theatrical than usual. Someone at the weather division has been having fun with their adjectives again. We start high in the Scottish Highlands, where light flurries of enchanted snow are expected through the night. This is not your ordinary snow. Each flake is hexed to hum a lullaby as it lands. Lovely if you're in the mood for a nap. Slightly less ideal if you're trying to keep a classroom awake for a double period of history of magic. The snow is said to collect in soft, shimmering drifts. So if you happen to be up there, mind your footing. Or you might find yourself knee-deep in a lullaby before you know it. Down in the Whispering Marshes, a mild fog of forget-me-dew is expected to roll in just after midnight. Locals are already carrying sprigs of rosemary behind their ears to keep from losing their way, and indeed, their thoughts. I once ignored that advice and wandered in without so much as a sniff of rosemary. 3 hours later, I was in a stranger's kitchen, stirring soup and insisting I had lived there my whole life. They were very kind about it. The soup was dreadful. Over the Lantern Isles tonight, the skies are perfectly clear, just in time for the comet Fizzlegrin to streak past the western cliffs. Residents are advised to bring a blanket and perhaps a thermos of cocoa, as the comet is known for sending little sparks into the sea when it passes low enough. Fisherfolk believe these sparks turn into baby firefish, though I'm told that's more poetic than scientifically confirmed. And here in London, a gentle rain will fall most of the night, charmed to avoid soaking wizard hats, a courtesy charm sponsored, rather proudly, by Madame Malkin herself. The Muggle Weather Report, of course, will say nothing about this, so expect a fair number of confused umbrella sellers in the morning. And finally, an unusual occurrence over the Black Lake at Hogwarts this evening. A rare moonbow. That's like a rainbow, but spun from moonlight instead of sunlight. It's best viewed from the astronomy tower between midnight and 2 o'clock. Students are encouraged to bring a friend, as the resident giant squid is said to be particularly curious about moonbow gazers. I can neither confirm nor deny whether it enjoys splashing them for fun. And there you have it, the forecast for those of us still awake to enjoy it. Whatever the weather in your corner of the magical world, may it be exactly what you hoped for, or at the very least, something to tell a good story about later. Now, dear listeners, it's time to visit some of the more unusual residents of our magical world. Yes, the creatures that hide just beyond sight, who pester our witches and wizards in the most charming ways. As always, our reports come from a mixture of ministry spotters, friendly magi zoologists, and, if you believe them, the occasional daring muggle-born who refuses to be scared off by a squeaking niffler or an over-enthusiastic bowtruckle. The post office in Ottery, St. Mary Catchpole, reports a sharp increase in the local puffskin population. For those who don't know, puffskins are small, round, fluffy creatures, beloved for their charming innocence, and for the scent of warm vanilla that trails them everywhere they go. Unfortunately, their fondness for chewing on parchment and nibbling the corners of envelopes has slowed the evening mail delivery considerably. One postmaster, Mrs. Pritchard, was heard muttering something about retraining the little beasts before being seen bribing them with sugar quills. Out near the pumpkin patches of Devonshire, sightings of mooncalves have become more frequent this week. Mooncalves, as many of you recall from your Care of Magical Creatures lessons, are shy, pale blue creatures with large eyes and graceful ballet-like movements, especially under the full moon. One farmer reported waking to find several mooncalves dancing under the moonlight, their silvery trails sparkling faintly in the cool night air. He admitted to sitting quietly for hours just to watch their peaceful ballet. I can't think of a better way to spend a night. Not far from London, a rather clever niffler was caught red-handed during a minor jewelry heist at a wizarding gala. The creature reportedly made off with several silver goblets and a particularly shiny brooch shaped like a snitch. The owner, a rather bemused witch, declined to press charges, instead requesting that the niffler be sent to the nearest magical creature sanctuary, with a stern warning to keep its paws out of the family heirlooms. Lastly, the bustling, wizarding marketplace of Carefully has reported several demiguise sightings. Known for their precognitive abilities and invisibility, these gentle ape-like creatures were spotted early last week. Market vendors have suggested that the presence of demiguise brings good luck, but advise all to keep their purses firmly closed. Well, that's quite the menagerie for one evening, isn't it? I encourage you to close your eyes and picture the soft feathers of a puffskein, the delicate ballet of the mooncalves, or even the quiet watchfulness of a bowtruckle just waiting in the shadows of the trees. Magic is alive everywhere, especially in the creatures that share our world, often unseen but never forgotten. Up next, a new song from Celestina Warbeck, the singing sorceress herself, perfect for all you love-struck night owls out there. You're listening to You Stole My Cauldron, but You Can't Have My Heart. Well, that was a lovely song. By the way, rumor has it, Celestina's been seen rehearsing with a backup band of actual banshees. We'll keep you posted if they scream on key. For those late-night page-turners, Lumos glow reading lamps, adjustable to just the right brightness, and charmed never to wake sleeping dragons, spouses, or roommates. And now, dear listeners, let's lean back in our chairs or settle deeper into our beds and turn our attention to the lively hum of the wizarding world's social circles. It seems the magical guilds and clubs have been as busy as ever, and the rumour mill is turning at a pace that would make even a golden snitch dizzy. I've gathered a few highlights that should make for an entertaining listen. So pour yourself another cup of something warm and settle in. The Aura's annual ball took place last week at the Ministry's Grand Hall, and sources report that the event was as sparkling as the enchanted chandeliers overhead. Aura Kingsley Shacklebolt was seen teaching a particularly tricky dance step to a young recruit, who, by all accounts, stumbled rather spectacularly, but laughed all the way through. Meanwhile, Madame Pomfrey was spotted in the corner, nursing a rather stubborn case of enchanted hiccups that caused her to levitate, if only briefly, several inches above her chair. One attendee commented, "It was the most entertaining hiccup display since the Weasley twins' fireworks." Over in Hogsmeade, the Witchlight Theatre is preparing for a new production of The Misadventures of Merlin's Cat. Tickets have sold out faster than a broomstick in a thunderstorm, and early reviews from the rehearsals speak of clever spells, pratfalls, and an absolutely charming enchanted broomstick as the star of the show. If you're lucky enough to get a seat, do remember to bring your own enchanted popcorn. It makes the experience all the more magical. In the world of sports, the Gryffindor Quidditch captain, Marcus Thistlewick, has been the centre of some rather spicy gossip this week. Rumour has it he was spotted entering the Hogshead with an unknown witch just before last weekend's match. Neither party has commented, but the entire school is abuzz, especially the Slytherin team, who are reportedly sharpening their tactics in response. One Gryffindor first year summed it up. "If only his spells were as smooth as his charm." Finally, a quick public service announcement from the Flying Broomstick Safety Council. A recall has been issued for a batch of enchanted broomsticks that have been reported to occasionally veer sharply to the left when approaching sharp turns. If you or someone you know has recently purchased a Nimbus 4000, please check with your local broom repair specialist. Safety first, as always. And that, dear listeners, is your dose of gossip and mischief from the guild halls, theatres, and alleyways of our magical world. Remember, sometimes the best magic isn't the spell itself. It's the stories we share around the fire afterward. And now let me get myself a butterbeer before going to our next topic. For those of you still listening beneath the silver moon, let us turn our attention to whispers from the future and the charm work lighting our present. The prophecies of the Daily Prophet, often read like riddles wrapped in stardust, and the charms that cross our path are just as beguiling. So, settle in as we explore some of the most curious enchantments and enigmatic forecasts whispered on the wind. The prophecy, known as the Midnight Veil, has been making quiet waves within the Department of Mysteries. Though details are scarce, it's said to speak of a night when the boundaries between worlds thin, a time for careful watchfulness and gentle magic. Experts caution against rushing to conclusions, reminding us that many prophecies are like stars, beautiful to behold, but often distant and elusive. A more curious enchantment gaining attention is the Whispering Wand charm. When activated, the wand softly whispers encouraging words or friendly advice, a companion for those moments when a bit of reassurance is needed. Some apprentices have taken to carrying their wands close, reporting it helps calm nerves before exams or difficult duels. Starfire lanterns, crafted from enchanted phoenix feathers, have been lighting the lantern shops from Hogsmeade to Diagon Alley. These lanterns glow with a steady warmth that's said to inspire hope and clear thinking. Several auras have been known to keep one nearby during night patrols, especially on evenings heavy with magical tension. Finally, a recent enchantment called the Daybreak Sigil has captured the imagination of many. Worn as a small charm or tattoo, it's said to encourage a calm start to the day, easing the mind from sleep to wakefulness with the gentlest of touches. While still experimental, early reports suggest it's a promising aid for witches and wizards prone to restless mornings. There you have it, a glimpse at some of the magic shaping our nights and days, wrapped in charm and mystery. Whether prophecy or spell, these whispers remind us that magic is not just in grand gestures, but in the small wonders woven through our daily lives. And now, dear listeners, it's time for a little joy from our wizarding social calendar. Engagements, weddings, and the most splendid gatherings from across our magical community. First, a toast to Miss Clarissa Moonbeam and Mr. Percival Thatch, whose engagement was announced this past weekend at the Starfall Cafe in Diagon Alley. Sources say Mr. Thatch proposed by presenting Miss Moonbeam with a silver locket that, when opened, plays her favorite tune. The Dancing Cauldrons Waltz. We wish them a lifetime of happiness, laughter, and perhaps a few enchanted waltzes of their own. Warmest congratulations to healer Emmeline Bragg and Aura Tobias Wick, married last Saturday beneath the blooming moon willow trees of Godric's Hollow. The bride's gown was charmed to shimmer softly in time with the harp music, and guests enjoyed an evening feast featuring miniature treacle tarts that hovered politely beside their plates until eaten. The happy couple departed for a honeymoon in the floating gardens of Celestalis. Mark your calendars for the Winter Masquerade Ball at the Wimborne Wasps Enchanted Pavilion this coming Saturday evening. Masks are mandatory, and rumor has it the orchestra will include at least 2 enchanted violins, with a fondness for dancing in midair. In Hogsmeade, the Moonlight Minstrels Gala returns this Friday night, promising a gentle evening of music, floating lanterns, and complimentary hot cocoa for all. A warm welcome to little Calidora Spindle, born last Thursday, to potioneer Miranda Spindle and broomstick artisan Felix Spindle. We're told her first giggle produced a small puff of glitter, a promising sign indeed. Whether you're dancing beneath starlight or enjoying a quiet evening in, may these happy tidings warm your hearts. Now, back to the news. This break is sponsored by Broomsmith's Comfort Cushions, the enchanted seat pad that turns any broom ride into a cloud-soft journey. Quidditch players, night flyers, and delivery owls all approve, though we haven't quite figured out how to get the owls to stop stealing them. We've just received a howler from Doris in Diagon Alley. Stop playing love songs. I'm trying to sleep. Sorry, Doris. This next one's even sappier. and that was the famous wizarding instrumentalists with their hit for late nights by the lake, drinking a butterbeer or a pumpkin juice with friends. Ah, the good old days. Now, dear listeners, let us settle into a softer moment. Imagine yourself wrapped in a cozy blanket, the fire casting gentle shadows, and me here to guide you through one of the quieter stories of our magical world. A tale not of battles or grand adventures, but of friendship, mystery, and the gentle magic found in everyday moments. Tonight's story is called The Lantern of Evernight, a quiet legend whispered among wizarding families for generations. Long ago, in a small village nestled between the rolling hills of the Scottish Highlands, there was a lantern unlike any other. This lantern was said to glow with the soft light of the stars themselves, a light that never flickered or dimmed, no matter how dark the night grew. It was kept by an elderly wizard named Alaric, who used its gentle glow to guide late travelers safely through the misty forests. Alaric's lantern was more than a simple light. It was enchanted with a spell of calm, meant to ease the weary heart and soothe restless minds. On nights when the moon was hidden and the wind whispered through the trees, the lantern's light would shine even brighter, a quiet beacon of hope and safety. One autumn evening, a young witch named Elara arrived in the village, lost and tired from a long journey. She stumbled upon Alaric's home just as the sun dipped below the horizon, the forest already cloaked in twilight. Alaric welcomed her warmly and offered the lantern's light to guide her to a nearby inn, ensuring her journey would be safe and her night peaceful. As Elara walked beneath the lantern's glow, she felt a calm she had never known before, as if the light carried the kindness of every star in the sky. The lantern's magic, it is said, lives on in those quiet moments when the world feels vast and unknown, reminding us that even in darkness, there is light to be found. I hope you found a little of that calm in our story tonight. Magic is often loud and dazzling, but sometimes the most powerful spells are those that whisper quietly to soothe and comfort. As you rest, imagine the soft light of the Lantern of Evernight glowing steadily through the night just for you.